लिखो
A-N-N.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, let me wait for a few minutes if anyone wants to join in. I will continue with chapter number 4, Mim Sakina rules, and a couple of the students who were following the session, they have some queries on Makhraj and Noon Sakina rules. Also last session we were having troubles with the connection, so what I would do is when you drop in your queries, we will discuss over those queries for chapter number 2 and chapter number 3, that's Makharij al-Huruf and Noon Sakina wa Tanween rules. For now I will begin with the Mim as-Sakina. Just like how Noon as-Sakina has rules, same like that, if Mim has Sukoon, there are some ways on how do you pronounce it. Mim Sukoon. What?
Mim Sukoon.
Ahkam.
Ahkam min Fajr.
أحكام ميم الساكنة.
أحكام ميم ساكنة. فإذا قرأت القرآن فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Okay, let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So, Mim as-Sakina by definition, it is a meme free from any vowel. Mim as-Sakina means a meme which does not have any vowel. It has Mim Sukoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would just announce that we will first go over all the queries that are there, and then only I will proceed with chapter 4, which is Mim as-Sakina rules. I was about to begin. I was waiting for everyone to join in. One of my students wants to say one surah. Which surah? Big one. No, another surah. Naziyat. Okay, Ayatul Kursi. Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسي السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair. And sorry for the interruption. Okay, as I was saying, first I will go through all the queries on Makharij and Noon as-Sakina, and then I will go over the Mim as-Sakina, the chapter. Even if I don't complete this chapter in this session, it's okay. I want that whatever queries you all have, we will just go over those. And Noon Sakina, as the last session was not very clear, I can go over those completely as well. So the Makhraj of Lam. For Lam, if you know, actually we haven't done Sifat as yet, but when we reach a Sifat, you will know that Lam tends to fall on one of the side of the tongue. So you should know that Lam comes from the side of the tongue. Now in the same place near the Makhraj of Lam, we have very many letters, so it may get confusing. One is Noon Ra, one is Bad, and one is Lam. All these four are somewhere very close. Like for example, first we will begin side of the tongue. You have one makhraj is Bad and one makhraj is Lam. From the tip of the tongue you have Noon and Ra. So Noon and Ra, they are close to Lam, but the thing is, for Noon and Ra you will use the tip of the tongue, whereas for Lam you will use the sides. Now how do you use the sides? When you have one side of the tongue, the back part of it, if you divide your tongue into half, the back half of the tongue is used for pronouncing Dad. Okay, Ald. So more focus is on the back part, but for Lam, the front part. Now the front part of the tongue, but which area of the tongue are you going to touch? Okay, so let's begin with the center. In the upper jaw center you have 4 incisors which are flat, which are used for cutting an apple. A for apple, to cut an apple. So those 4 teeth. Okay, and then next to it you have a canine. So one canine on the right and one canine on the left. Right, Suleiman, wait. Let me show you here. I'll pick. Okay, see, you have 4 incisors on the upper jaw. Lower jaw also you have, right? But we will skip the lower jaw. You are right now looking at the upper jaw. 4, and then you have canines, those pointed tooth, one this side and one that side, right? Suleiman. And then over here you have premolar. The molars start here, but the first tooth after the canine is not known as a molar, it is known as a premolar. So you have a premolar, so this premolar, you can use even one more premolar. You can take 2 premolars. Okay, so from that area, all this, it's like a small curve, this much area. Okay, and this is your tongue.
Tongue.
Which? Tongue. Now what is mentioned here is the nearest part of the side of the tongue and the end of its tip. Why nearest part? See, if this is the tongue, if I divide the tongue into 2 halves, what part I have to take is the front. So this is the nearest part. The behind part is far, which is used for Dod. So this side and the tip. So you will use one side, right side, left side, and the tip. This whole area, and you will touch behind on the gums of all the teeth. These teeth. The gums of all these teeth you will touch. The front, all the incisors, the canines, and the premolar. And then you will say L. Is that clear? Okay, any more queries on makhraj, or I'll move on to Noon as-Sakina? Okay, I will start with Noon as-Sakina. If you have any queries on makhraj or any other queries on whatever we have done so far, just let me know. And makhraj, as I told you, we will practice in each session, because makhraj, for now, you should know the theory, as in which makhraj is for which alphabet, and if it is tongue, how much of the tongue should touch which portion, so that by end when we have done with the theory, we will again also practice the makhraj, because main thing is how to pronounce it. Your sound should be proper, but to have the sound proper, you should know the place proper. So that is why your theory should be fine, so that you know how to apply it. Now let's move on to noon as sakina. What we said, noon as sakina is a noon with no haraka, no fatha, no kasra, no dhamma. So that means it is silent, so that is it is having a sukoon. Sukoon is this small sign here. This is noon. So this is noon as sakina. Now in this we also cover tanween. Why? Because when I say tanween, an, un, in, it sounds as though an, un, in. Tanween fatha, tanween kasra.
in.
Yeah, it's like saying this. Noon as sakina, an or in or un. It's like saying this. That is why the sound is the same. So the rules for noon as sakina and tanween are together. Okay. Now, what is covered here is noon as sakina has certain rules on how to pronounce a noon sakina. You cannot just pronounce an. Not always. There are some rules. And how is that rule decided, or how do you know how to pronounce it? What you need to do is, whenever you see a noon sakina, you should see the alphabet after it. What is coming after this? Based on that, you will come to know what to recite.
A, E, U.
So how would you know is, you need to check which of these it is. Now based on the alphabet, we have 4 rules in noon as sakina.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Izhar,
Is her
which is for halaqi.
halaki.
Hamza ha, ain ha,
Hamza ha. Ain.
ain ain.
Ain. Ain.
Ha,
Ain.
ghain kha. All these letters come from the throat. We had done it in the makhraj of the throat. So if you see a noon as sakina, and after that the alphabet ha is from one of the letters of the throat. So what you will do is, in this you will do izhar. Izhar means to pronounce clearly. You will say anhar. You will say an clearly. That is the rule of izhar. That means if noon sakina is followed by any of the throat letters, then you pronounce noon clearly, and you do not do a gunna. Why specifically this we are saying? Because the other rules, some of them have a gunna. So you should know what a gunna is and which rule is having a gunna. When you have a throat letter after it, you are not going to do any gunna. You will just clearly say an or in or un. That's it. Same thing for tanween. Instead of noon as sakina, what will you have is, you will have a tanween, and it will be followed by ha or ain or hamza or ha, ghain, kha, any of the throat letters. That is for izhar. Is this rule clear? So that was one part. The other is the second rule. One is iqlab. Iqlab comes from qalb. Qalb means heart, and the state of our heart is always moving. It's always changing. So how do you remember it? Here noon as sakina will change to a meme. What is the alphabet here? The alphabet is ba. That means, for example, you have an. Okay, wait Suleiman. An biya. Now here in the musaf, if you note, always you will not have just written like, you will have a small meme written on top. Why? Because here noon as sakina is followed by ba. So because of that, what you need to do is, you need to change the sound of noon to meme. I will no longer say anbiya, I will say ambiya. I will change the noon to a meme. So if the noon changes to meme, why does it do that? Because it is followed by ba. So you have to do the rule of iqlab, which is changing the sound of noon to a meme. And here you will do a gunna also. Ambiya. So you will hold it 2 counts and keep. So you have here a gunna. Here you do not have any gunna. Izhar means say a clear noon sound. Yeah, I will come to that point. For now, just understand the 4 rules, and when there is no sukun on noon, which is in the mushaf, you will see the noon will be empty in some places. I will come to that part. For now, just understand the concept of these 4 rules, how to pronounce the noon and when to pronounce it like this. One is pronouncing the noon clearly. When do you do that? When it is followed by any of the throat letters. Second rule, and this noon means tanween also, inclusive of tanween, okay? And as you know, noon sakina can come in the middle of a word also, but tanween comes only at the end of a word. Iqlab, the rule of iqlab is I will change the noon sound to a meme and I will do a gunna also. When do you do that? When noon sakina or a tanween is followed by the alphabet ba. And then the other rule is idgham. Now idgham happens only between 2 words. You cannot do it within a word. Idgham rule itself, it means you will do joining. Idgham means to merge. You will merge. You will join. You will join what? Noon sakina with the next letter. And when do you do that? We will see that. But it will be only between 2 words. That means if it is in any single word, like dunya, I will say dunya. Here the noon will be pronounced clearly. I've seen the most of noon the noon will be written on top. And I will come to the question of yours again. That applies here as well. You will come to know once I explain that part. So idgham, you need to remember a code word called yar ma loon. These are 6 letters: ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, and noon. Yarmaloon. Big loon. Don't shout. So there are 6 letters. You need to write this down, or if you have a book, just underline it or highlight it or mark it and keep saying it. So idgham is yarmaloon. Now how do you do it if noon sakina is followed by ya? Then I will join it. Mew wara. This was for wow. Mew wara ihim. Same thing. If you have a ya, you will say may ya'mal. I'll say may. I will not say man ya'mal. If this is man, I'll not say man ya'mal. I will say may ya'mal. I will join the noon to ya. Now here the joining is incomplete. Why? As we saw that noon has a characteristic of gunna that never leaves it. So noon is an. I cannot say the an without a gunna. Gunna is there with it. So in incomplete merging, what happens is when I am merging, I cannot hear the sound of noon, but I can hear a gunna. May ya'mal. May ya'mal. So I cannot hear a noon. If anyone is not seeing the alphabets but just hearing my voice, can you hear a noon? Can you hear na na? May ya'mal. Can you hear na? Say no. No. So you cannot hear. Why? Because the noon has merged into ya. Same thing will happen for ya, mim, waw, and noon. Yu'min. Ya, mim, waw, and noon. But for ra and lam, if it is followed by ra or if it's followed by lam, it will be a complete merge. And complete merging, you will see a shadda here. Shadda means complete merging. That means you will not hear the noon at all. Only you will hear is the sound of ra or lam. Like ashhadu alla. I do not say an la. It is an and then there is a la. But I will say ashhadu alla. Can you hear a noon? Look here. Can you hear na? Ashhadu alla.
No.
Allah. No, you can hear no. Why? Because it is completely merged. So incomplete merging means the gunna of the noon is also not there. Nothing is there. It is completely merged. So if it is followed by a ra or if it is followed by a lam, it is easier for you because in the mushaf you will see a shadda written, and usually when you see a shadda you just join it over there, so you wouldn't have difficulty in reciting it when you're looking at the mushaf and reading. So ra and lam, you will have a complete merging. And the last rule is for ikhfa. Ikhfa means hiding the sound of noon. That means you cannot hear the noon clearly, like kun tum. Okay, now all the remaining alphabets, meaning throat letters, ba and yarmalun, except for these, all the other letters come under the category of ikhfa. Here what do? You hide the sound, and there will be a gunna also. In idgham, half are having gunna, only ra and lam is not having gunna. Okay, now in ikhfa what you will do is you need to hide the sound. Now if I say kun, which is I am touching the makhraj of noon, which is tip of the tongue above behind the teeth on the gums. If I touch and I say an, kun, kuntum. Kuntum means I am using the makhraj of noon. It is izhar. It is saying the noon clearly. I am not hiding the sound.
A-N-N.
I can hear the sound of noon clearly. So this clear sound shouldn't come. So if I touch the makhraj of noon, my sound of noon will be clear. So I should not touch the makhraj of noon. So what I will do is, you need to see the next letter. Here the next letter is ta. From where you say ta, at, ta, tip of the tongue touching the gums behind. But what you need to do is not touch ta makhraj also. You will just go near to the makhraj as if you are ready to say ta. When you complete your gunna, you are ready to say ta. So you should just be in a ready position to say ta. You should not touch the makhraj of ta. You should not touch the makhraj of noon. And then from there you will try to say the sound of noon. So you will not get a clear noon sound because you are not at the makhraj of noon. Your tongue is not touching up. And unless your tongue touches up, you do not get the sound of noon. Your tongue has to touch up. Only then the noon sound will come. So now since your tongue is not touching up, you're not getting the sound of noon. And then you also do a gunna. Kuntum. Kuntum. So that's how you're going to hide the sound of noon. And this is known as ikhfa and have a gunna. Now what happens is, if there is a heavy letter after this, here it is a light letter. We will see what heavy letters and light letters are when we do the sifat. But when we come to that part, I will explain this concept again so that it will be more clear. Your hiding will be heavy because you will be at a heavy makhraj. Like for example, Sad is a heavy letter. So when you have Noon Sakina before it, when you hide that Noon Sakina, you are going to have a heavy gunna. Gunna you can experience in Suratul Quraysh and Suratul Ma'un. Both are having a gunna. One is having a heavy gunna and one is having a light gunna. So you can practice that. You can listen to the Qari. Okay. Now coming to your question. Now all these four rules, in the Musaf do not look the same. Now when you have izhar rule, how do you see that in the Musaf? You will see a noon and sukoon written on top of it. You will see a sukoon on top of it. Sukoon means make a stop on the alphabet, means say an, say un, say in, and the tanween will be like exactly parallel. This is fatha, this is kasra, exactly one below the other. Dhamma will be a little different. It will be one dhamma and one semicircle on top like this. So whenever you see these, you should know that okay, I have to make the sound of noon, an, in, un, when you see these. So even if you you have to think so much, okay, what is the next letter, okay, what rule it is, you don't need to think that much. You just need to see this and pronounce it like that. If you see exactly parallel lines, just say an. In, un. If you see a noon with a sukun, just say an. And no gunna. Just clear sound, clear noon sound. Then second, iqlab. Again, this is easy. For iqlab, what you will see is, when you see a noon, there won't be a sukun on top. There won't be a sukun on top. What will be there will be a small meme. To indicate that don't pronounce this as noon, pronounce this as meme. Say am, im, Same thing for tanween. One tanween sign, the other tanween sign will change to a meme. One tanween kasra, the other kasra will be changed to a meme. One tanween dhamma, other tanween dhamma will be changed to a meme. So again, this is also very easy. When you see just one sign and one meme, okay, so I know I don't have to say an, I have to say am, I have to say im, I have to say This is also easy. So these are the faces. These are the houses, how they look like in the Musaf. And then for the other rule, which is ikhfa and idgham, they look the same. In the Musaf, when you see, they will look the same. So how do you identify? When you see Yarmalun, for Yarmalun, for 4 letters, it will be more easier because you will see a shadda after the nun sakina. So when you see a shadda, you know it's merging. It's idgham. That happens in ra, lam, mim and noon. Ya and waw will not have a shadda. But when you see a noon sakina and ya, you know you have to combine and do gunna. When you see a noon sakina and waw, you know you have to do a gunna. What I will do is in next session, I will ask you all to come along with a mushaf, and we will I will highlight some examples for ikhfa and idgham, so that you can practice and it will be more easier for you, because the more you recite daily, the more you will get used to it. So in idgham, when you see a noon sakina followed by a shadda, just join it. You will see it in 4 of the 6 letters. There are 6 letters, Yarmalun. Out of the 6 letters, 4 of the letters will have a shadda on top in the mushaf. The rest 2 letters are ya and waw. It's incomplete merging, so you have to do a guna, because the merging is not complete. And how will noon be? Like this, completely empty, nothing on top of it. Nothing on top of it. It will be completely empty. How will the tanween signs be? It will be one tanween and the other tanween will be slightly below it. It will be like this. It will not be exactly parallel. Notice the difference between izhar, the first one, and the third one. It is not one below the other. It's a little up and down. Same thing for the tanween kasra. One kasra. And this again. One kasra. And the other one will be slightly below it. Just like the fatha. And the dhamma, you will see two dhammas. And ikhfa is always having a gunna. Idgham, only ra and lam is not having a gunna. So whenever you see an empty noon, you should know you have to do a gunna. Except for ra and lam, you have to do a gunna, empty noon. 2 parallel signs, one below the other, but not, they're skid, as if they're skid. They're not exactly parallel. So you have to do a gunna except for ra and lam. Same thing for 2 dhammas. So that is the rule of noon as sakina and tanween. Is that clear now? I can proceed to mim as sakina. I can clear the board. So does that answer your question, that what if there is no sukun on noon? There will be no sukun on noon. When it is the rule of ikhfa and idgham. So whenever there is no sukun on noon, it is one of these rules. So if you see a ra and lam, just merge, nothing else. Don't make the sound of noon at all. All the other letters, noon will be either hiding or joining, and there will be gunna. So what you need to do is you need to learn which code is for what. The only thing for in the Musaf, if you see, it's easy that you can just identify these faces. Izhar face is very clear. Iqlab is very clear. The only thing is Izhar and Idgham, you need to do a little effort. You need to identify Yarmalun. So for that you need practice. You need to keep reciting. And that will help you. Okay, inshallah, now we will move to Mima Sakina rules. In between, if you all have any queries, just point it and I will continue. Same how we did Noon as-Sakina rules. That is, how do you pronounce a Noon as-Sakina depending on the next alphabet. Same way we will pronounce Mim as-Sakina in various ways depending on what is the next alphabet. Definition of Mim as-Sakina: it is a meme which does not have any vowel on it. It's free of any vowel. So it has this fixed sukoon when continuing reading and when stopping. When you're going to continue or when you're going to stop, you have a fixed sukoon on top. Im, like that. Now here they have mentioned something that it excludes the meme that was originally without a vowel but obtained one because the next letter also had a sukoon. That means in Arabic, actually what is the thing is, you cannot pronounce a sukoon, right? You need the help of a previous haraka. So if you have two sukoons coming next to each other, it becomes difficult to pronounce. You cannot pronounce two sukoon next to each other. So one of them, the previous one, obtains a haraka so that you can pronounce and continue. So this does not include that meme, because that meme originally is not having any vowel. It took a vowel. Why? Because the next letter had a sukoon. So this does not cover that. In case of one of the two letters without vowels being a huruf al-mad, which are the huruf al-mad? Alif, waw and ya. A, u, e, those which extend your haraka, fatha, kasra, dhamma. Now what happens is, if these two, we saw that two letters cannot have sukoon next to each other. You'll have to, while reciting, put a vowel on the first one. So if one of them is a mad alphabet, what you do is you shorten the lengthening of the mad. So what happens is you get a vowel, and that vowel is what you join to the next one. And similarly, you will also exclude what? If at the end of a word you have meme with a vowel, like isti'aza, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Rajim has a meme kasra, rajimi. It is not a meme sukoon. It's rajimi. Why did it become sukoon? Because we are stopping on it. Because in Arabic, generally, whenever you stop, you do not stop with a vowel. You stop with a sakin. So this is excluded from this rule. Because when you are going to continue reading, you are going to recite that haraka. So it will no longer be a meme sukoon. Now here they have given additional points, that is, this meme sukoon can come in any word. It can come in a noun, it can come in an action, it can come in a particle, and they've given examples for all of these. Like am is a particle, it's a harf. So in that also meme sukoon can come. So meme sukoon can come in any of the word. Basically all the words, any of the word type may have a meme sukoon. And also what is included is al-meme. Al-mimul jama'. Jama' means plural. Now, for example, some words like lahum, lakum. So the kum and hum, they denote a plural. This, when you all do the grammar, you will come to know that hum, lakum, the kum represents you all. Hum represents they all. So these are the plural memes. So these, not always the meme indicate plural, but most of these words like kum, hum, they represent plural. Now, like how Noon as-Sakina had 4 rules, Yes, for noon as sakina also the same way, that if you're going to have a noon with a vowel, you will not say nu, you will say an, and you will stop. So that does not come under this rule, because originally it is not a sukoon. The meme sakina or noon sakina itself means noon with a sukoon or meme with a sukoon. It should have a sukoon. If it's having a haraka, it's no longer a noon sakina, it's no longer a meme sakina. So noon sakina had 4 rules. Meme sakina is little more better. It is having 1 rule less. We just have 3 rules over here. Now, if you notice, when I say the words, you're going to get confused. So just let me know if you can make out which rule is this, okay? Idhar, idgham, and ikhfa. Do these sound very similar to something that we just did? Izhar, idgham, ikhfa.
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 Ikhfa. Ikhfa. Ikhfa. Ikhfa.
We had these in noon sakin as well, right? Izhar.
Izhar. Izhar. Pyar izhar.
Since the name of the rule is the same, we have to add another word at the end of this to identify that this is a meme sakina rule and not a noon sakina rule. And what is that word? You have to say shafawi. Shafawi means lips. Why? Because the makhraj of meme is from the lips. So you will say ikhfa shafawi, idgham shafawi, and izhar shafawi. So when I say shafawi, you should understand that it is a meme sakina rule, not a noon sakina rule. Okay, we will begin with idgham. Idgham al-shafawi. Idgham, as we saw, it means merging. So when a sakina letter comes with a letter with a vowel, the 2 letters become same and more emphasis is on the second letter. And here, which alphabet is it? If meme sakina is followed by the same letter, which is meme, you have a meme sakina, and then after that again you have another meme with a haraka. So what will happen is you're going to merge. It can be in one word, it can be in 2 different words as well. So what happens is, because you have 2 meme here, mostly you will find a shadda on the second meme. So this is also known as idgham mithlain saghira ma'al gunna. What is this idgham mithlain saghira? We will see when we do the various kinds of idgham. There is another concept of idgham, merging, which we will see later on when we progress to more advanced rules. But for now, just know that this you're going to merge. Why? Because both are meme and you're going to join it. Now mithlain, which is idgham mithlain, it is known as mithlain, is used, the term is used when you have 2 same alphabets together next to each other, one with a sukoon and the other with a haraka. And when will it be saghir? When the first letter is sakina, second is a vowel. Gunna means again you're going to do a gunna. Like for example, walakum and ma kasabtum. After walakum is meme sukoon. After that you having a ma. You have a meme again. So walakum ma. So what I will do is I will do a joining, and since both meme are together, you have to do a gunna. Walakum ma kasabtum. Walakum ma. So I'm holding it 2 counts. So this is the idgham rule. You're going to merge, join it. If you do not get the concept of mithlain right now, that's fine. For now, you just need to understand the concept. Idgham will be in meme sukoon followed by a meme. Idgham is shafawi. The next rule is ikhfa al-shafawi. Ikhfa al-shafawi. When do you do? Ikhfa means hiding. This is between izhar and idgham, as we saw in noon sakina. You do not say it clearly and you do not merge it. So it's between them. You hide the sound. You do not have a shadda. And gunna will be there on the first letter. And here, which is the first letter? The first letter is a meme. When do you do this? When meme sukoon is followed by the alphabet ba. Then you're going to hide the sound. Why do you hide? Why? Because I'm going to say am. Okay, that's meme sukoon. I will say am, then I have to say ba. Now both are from the same makhraj, both are from the lips. I have to use the lips for saying am also, for saying the next alphabet ba also. So what happens is, since both are in the same makhraj, you're going to slightly hide the sound and then continue with ba. This will not happen in one word, it has to be between two separate words. You will hide the sound and do a gunna. Like for example, inna rabbahum. Okay, rabbahum is having mim sukun. Inna rabbahum. And then I have after that bihim. Inna rabbahum bihim. So it becomes difficult. Just try to say this. Inna rabbahum bihim. Because whenever you recite, you have to complete each alphabet. You have to complete each haraka. You have to give every letter its right, the right that is due to it, as we saw in the definition of Tajweed. What do you mean by Tajweed definition? To give every alphabet and every haraka its right. So I have to complete inna rabbahum, and then I have to go to bihim. So it becomes very long, to complete rabbahum and from there again say bihim. It becomes a little difficult. So that is why you would notice most of the rules are because of the ease in reciting. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for us to even recite. So the way how it is recited is inna rabbahum bihim. Rabbahum, you will just close both the lips and say rabbahum. You will close, and ba is having a stronger closing. So when you say rabbahum, you will complete the meme, hold it 2 counts for the gunna, and then you will do a more tight closing for ba and then say bihim. Inna rabbahum bihim. So that is the rule for ikhfa ash-shafawi. All the remaining alphabets other than ba or other than meme, if you notice, again meme sakina rule is very easy. It just has in the rule merging will be when it's the same alphabet, meme and meme, and hiding is when it's from the same makhraj, meme and ba. All the other alphabets other than this, you have to say meme clearly. Again, in the Musaf, when you see the rule for idgham, when you see meme, you will see a shadda on the second meme, and the first meme will be completely empty, no sign at all. That will be idgham. In ikhfa, again meme will be empty completely. So whenever you see that meme is empty, meme is not having anything, nothing, meme is having nothing, that means you have to do something. Nothing means something. What is that something? Gunna. You have to do gunna when a meme is empty. When it is the other rule, third rule, izhar. In izhar, meme will have a sukoon written on top of it. Means you have to just say clearly am, im, no gunna at all. It is just a clear meme. Whenever you see sukoon on any alphabet, sukoon means clear. You have to make the sound of the letter. This can be in 2 words, it can be in the same word. You have to say am, im, it can be in 1 word or in between 2 words. There is a note mentioned here at the end on page number 53. There needs to be special care taken that izhar of the meme is complete. That means am, im, is complete when a fa or waw is followed by after it. Why specifically fa or waw? Anyone can answer? Fa, waw after a meme. Am and fa, am and waw, because these all are from the same makhraj. Because when I'm saying am and I have to use my lips again to say waw, I should not rush to say the waw. I should complete my am completely. I have to do the izhar completely, then use the lips to say waw or fa, because they are from the same makhraj. Yes, they are the lips letters, correct. All of these 4 are the lip letters, same makhraj, correct. So that is why you need to take care and complete it. This care is needed. Reader should be careful to close his lips completely. You should not just halfway close the lips and say meme. You've completely closed the lips. Complete your izhar. Don't do an ikhfa here. Okay, that is meme as-sakina rule. And that completes chapter number 4 over here. If you have any queries, you can let me know now or later anytime. Next session we will do some practice on these rules, and then only we will say maybe 15 minutes we are going to do some practice. Keep your mushaf ready with you in the next lesson. and then we will move to chapter 5. Chapter 5 is all about lam sakina rules. That's a very easy chapter and it's a small one. Let me see in the textbook also. Yes, it's just a couple of pages. That's about just 3 pages for lam sakina rule. So we can do some practice. And then you have mudud. Mudud is quite a lengthy one, so let's have a relaxed session. Next one we will just do some simple mudud, and the one after that is going to be a heavy one. So till we reach there, just be sure you know these rules completely well. Noon as sakina and mim as sakina. Any questions, or I can end the session now? Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Idgham shafawi, mim empty, completely empty, and you do gunna. Ikhfa shafawi, mim completely empty, and you do a gunna. Izhar shafawi, you will see a mim with a sukoon. Am, im, Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.